What's up, guys? Russ Anderson, Anderson Security Consulting, AndersonSecurityConsulting.com, all the social media, all that stuff, the way to contact me if you have any questions or video suggestions, subjects you'd like me to touch on. And I'll make this caveat, I'm not going to give out instructions on how to perform executive protection details. That's for going to a formal class or learning on the job. That's not something you should get from YouTube. Trust me, you'll get a lot of bad information from YouTube if that's your quest and that's how you plan to obtain skills as a protective specialist. So everything will be linked in the description below. Suggestions, comments, please put them down in the comment section below. I go through the comment section routinely. I'm not gonna say I'm on there all day, every day, but I do go through them. If you have video suggestions and you don't want to use the comment section, you can send me an email at andersonsecurityconsulting@gmail.com. That's andersonsecurityconsulting@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. On Twitter, it's a little bit different. It's exec_protect. All that will be linked below. Special request for all of you watching these videos: if these videos represent any sort of value to you whatsoever, and the what I bring to you is based on my opinion and my experience and training over decades of performing executive protection work at the highest levels. So if it represents value to you, please consider hitting the like button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you'll know whenever new videos are being put out. I have a pretty regular video posting schedule. Sometimes I've put out multiple videos in one day. A lot of times I'll pre-record videos and schedule them to be put out, but pretty much you can count on 5 to 7 videos every week. So like, subscribe, doesn't cost you anything. It helps me out a bunch. So I'm going to go over something, an incident that, not this most recent detail, just got off a detail yesterday. It was several days long, but very successful detail, professionally run. It was someone else's detail. I was called in to work on that detail. Very well run. It was a corporate team. Well done. Obviously we're not going to go into names, but they know who they are. Very well done, gentlemen and lady. So I was speaking to a protective specialist. This is a while ago, and he was telling me about a detail he was on. It was a 2-week detail that wound up stretching out to 2.5 months, which does happen. So that's why that's kind of the up and down nature of this profession. You'll have feast or famine sometimes, especially in the beginning. So he was telling me about a detail leader that didn't like him. The guy didn't like him. He did this, he did that. He just didn't treat him the way he thought it was supposed to be treated, and he felt unwelcome the whole time he was on this detail. Younger guy. I've been around long enough, that this is not a problem for me. But this is a younger guy who's, he has this, need to be liked by everybody. And so here's the question I threw at him to gauge his mentality and give him an explanation. I said, okay, the guy didn't like you, right? He said, yes. I said, okay, why do you think he didn't like you? Well, he never smiled or joked with me. He never sat down and had a meal with me. He sat down and talked to other people. He didn't spend any time talking to me. And I just didn't think that I said, okay, so he wasn't giving you enough attention. Is that what you're saying? He said, well, no, not necessarily. He said, but he spent more time talking to some of the other new guys than he did with me. I said, okay, believe it or not, that detail leader gave you the ultimate compliment. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, okay, you mentioned that he spent a lot of time talking to some of the new guys. Most likely what he was doing was counseling and correcting behaviors or beliefs or training scars, I guess you could call them, that were not going to be helpful on that particular detail. Clearly, he didn't see that you needed the same amount of maintenance. So, me personally, speaking from a person who's led details, from a company owner standpoint, from my investigative work, the investigators that work for me, the executive protection specialists that work for me, the consultants that work for me, all the subcontractors that work for me. My greatest asset at any on any of my jobs is an individual, a professional. I can point them in a direction and say, I need you to take care of this. And the reply being, no problem. No problem, boss. Gotcha. And they go off and do it. And I know that job is going to be done properly in the way I want it done. Love that. I love low maintenance people. And I explained to them, I said, look, man, if this detail leader didn't like you, you wouldn't have stayed on that detail. He can find someone else to replace you during that 2.5 month long detail. He kept you on that detail because he didn't feel the need to replace you, because you were doing the work you needed to be done, that needed to be done the way he wanted you to do it. If he felt like he needed to correct you, it sounds like this guy was not shy about talking to people to correct him. You were doing your job. You got paid. And I could see the light bulb go on over this guy's head. He was like, man, I didn't think of it that way. No, of course not, because you were doing the whole getting in your feelings and, feelingsy, and this person doesn't like me and all the rest of this nonsense people get into. Like, let's go ahead and give a caveat. Nobody has to like you. You're being paid to do a job. I've worked plenty of jobs with people that didn't like me, but they kept me on those jobs because I happen to be very, very good at my work. I've been on a very long-term detail, where some of the guys didn't like me, but I found out later on they didn't like me because, my goal coming there was seeing that there were a lot of flaws and deficiencies and weaknesses. And I didn't call anybody out because it's not, it wasn't my detail, it wasn't my place to do that. But what I did was I conducted myself in a way that was elevated over the standard that they had set. And so thereby forcing them to improve their professional demeanor and behavior. And, I did that by design. And the person who put me on that detail did that by design, because he knows I'm not the guy who's going to be the lowest common denominator. I'm never going to be the weak link. Ever, ever, ever. I'm not the weak link on any detail. I never have been, and I never will be. And so he knew that I was going to go there and force these other guys to step up their game. Now, on a positive side of things, it did force people to step up their game. They did step up. Guys started exercising more. Guys started providing more service, as they should have been doing all along. And these weren't bad guys. They just got a little bit complacent and lackadaisical, which is easy to do on long-term details. And so you have to be really mentally disciplined and strong to keep pushing yourself to provide that level of service that the clients who are spending a lot of money, especially on a long-term detail, they should expect an elevated level of service. That's what executive protection is about, providing an executive level of protection for a C-suite individual. In particular, in this case, it was a CEO of a very huge multinational corporation. Obviously, we're not going to go into names. Now, on the negative side, I incurred a lot of negative behavior aimed my way. Some of these guys didn't like being pulled out of bed and made to work, actually work hard. And so on the negative side, I wound up getting a lot of hate from guys, and a lot of negative comments. Even guys tried to sabotage me a couple of times, but they learned over time that I don't care who likes me. I know it sounds weird to have somebody say that, but I really don't care if someone likes me or not. At the end of the day, I have to look in the mirror and know that I've done the job that I'm supposed to be doing. Everything I do has my name attached to it. Everything I do has my reputation attached to it. And I'm not going to let someone else's lack of motivation, I'm not going to let that drag me down and drag my performance down. I just won't do it. I care more about my reputation than I care about being liked, and that's something that will serve most of you well in any profession you're a member of. Now, you do have to deal with some of the the office politics and that sort of thing, and I get it and I understand, and it just makes life easier. However, if you're so complacent that you just want to get along to such a degree that it hurts your performance, well, then you're cheating your employer and you're cheating yourself. More than anything else. So every day You push and push and push and do your best. You set a new standard for yourself every single day. Every day you refuse to push and push, you also setting a new standard for yourself every single day. Depends on where you want to be. Do you want to be here? Or do you want to be here as far as your level of competence? Because you're not the only one who's going to notice. People around you are going to notice. Prospective detail leaders who might employ you are going to notice. We talk to each other. Okay, how did this guy do? Oh, man, the guy just did the very bare minimum. How that guy did? Oh, my God, this dude was, he put in nothing but effort. This guy was all action, all work, all the time, always ready to raise his hand. Hey, I need somebody to volunteer to do. Oh, yep, I got it. Those are the guys we love. So, you always have to look at, some of these, some of these things as far as your internal voices, your self-talk. What is your self-talk? If your self-talk is, I just want to get along like everybody else does. And I had guys talk to me, say, hey man, you're doing a little bit too much, dude. Just, slow down, take it easy. We don't really work. Literally had somebody talk to me like that. We don't really work that hard here. And I listened to what he said and I ignored him, ignore and override, and just kept doing the thing that I know how to do best. I don't know how to do lackadaisical or slipshod work. I don't know how to do it. I try to crush everything I do. And so, when you're going down whatever path you're going down, whether it's executive protection or whatever your chosen field may be in the future, when it comes to, every endeavor of your life, not just your professional life, your personal life, your physical fitness, everything. Are you doing the best you can? Or are you doing just enough to keep up with everyone else? Are you satisfied with that? Or are you that individual who wants to elevate themselves and pull themselves ahead of the rest of the pack or the rest of the herd that just kind of wants to meander around chewing grass? You have to make that decision. And so I made that decision. It cost me a lot of hatred. It cost a lot of, there's a price to pay for it, man. I'm not going to say it doesn't come with a price. It does come with a price. And so the biggest price I would have to pay is looking back on myself and saying, okay, on my performance, and saying, did I do the best I could, or did I just kind of mail it in? I'm not mailing it in. I'm going to do the best I can, or I'm not going to do it. And so, you're going to get some hatred. You're going to get, hatred from people who don't want to work that hard, who don't want you, instead of, elevating themselves to keep up or look better, they want to push you down so that they don't look bad by comparison. And these are the people you need to separate yourself from and do the best you can. But you will get some hatred for it if you do push yourself ahead of the herd or the head of the pack or whatever it might be. I've gotten a bunch of hatred, and I expect it. If you are, that'll be a subject of another video. But if you're pushing and you're trying to do better, not necessarily because you want to make people look bad, but because you want to do the best you can, you're going to get some hate because of it. You're going to catch some heat. You're going to catch they're going to be flinging some arrows and barbs your way, and you should expect it. I not only expect it, I relish it. And so when people try to throw hate at me thinking that I'm going to feel unwelcome and walk away like, oh, they don't like me. No, all you do is add fuel to the fire, because when I see that, I know that I'm doing something right, and I know I'm right on track. So keep throwing the hate, keep throwing those, flinging those arrows and barbs at me. They do nothing but make me stronger. Anyway, it's your boy Russ. Hit like, subscribe, share the video. If anything I have to say on these videos represents any value to you whatsoever, please consider hitting like, subscribe, sharing. It costs nothing to you, but it makes a very big difference to this channel and the information I'm trying to get out. Anyway, it's your boy Russ. I'm out.